The next quick little project here, it's a steel shelf that's 75 inches tall, 3.5 feet or 42 inches wide, and it has a depth of 20 inches. It has 5 shelves, as you can see, and it's going to be made out of this 1.25 inch angle iron that is 1/8 of an inch thick here, and I have 80 feet of it, which should be plenty to make this thing. To fill in the shelves, I'm just going to use some OSB, which I picked up here. So I just got a 4x8 sheet of that. Should work out really nicely. Keeps the cost down. So yeah, first thing to do, start cutting up the angle. To cut the angle, I'm going to be using this 14-inch Evolution dry cut chop saw. You can also put a 15-inch carbide blade on this if you want. It was a gift to me and I absolutely love it. It cuts the material really quickly with no dust and very, very minimal heat, if not none at all. So I'm putting this thing to work. Also, I thought I'd mention, being 75 inches tall, that equates to roughly 16.5 inches per shelf with the OSB sitting on it. So I think that's a pretty good spacing between each shelf. But let's get to cutting here. Got all the pieces, those pieces over there for the other side, and I got these pieces for this side all cut. And now for determining spacing, what you need to do is you need to find the total length of it, which is 75 inches. Then you add up how much the shelves are going to take out. So they're 1.25 each, and 1.25 times 5 is 6.25. So you do 75 minus 6.25 is 68 3/8. And then you divide that by 4, and 4 is how many spaces there are in between. So there's 5 of them, but there's 4 spaces. Divide by 4, and that gives you 17.1875, which is 17 3/16. So that means I just have to measure 17 3/16 off this one, and the next one, and the next one, and that will give me my spacing. And with the spacing, That just ensures that all the shelves are equal and the space between them is all the same. But what I'm gonna do, instead of measuring between each piece of angle, I'm just gonna add one piece of angle to it. So when you add 1 1/4 to that, you get 18 7/16. So now I'm just gonna measure 18 7/16 all the way up in Sharpie, and then I can place the angle in there. I feel like that's the easiest way to do it. They're all laid in there and they're all equal, just like I wanted. So the dimensions I used were 18 7/16, 36 7/8, and 55 5/16 off this bottom edge. So I just measured up and made marks, as you can see. So yeah, time to tack it up. I also got it squared up on the concrete here. So here's this one all tacked up. Overall, I think this shelf is gonna look very nice. I got the other side laying on the ground here. I got them all marked and spaced. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack this side now. I had to turn on the wide angle lens, but here it is. They're actually balanced on the concrete, surprisingly. You can see it's not touching there, and this one's just freestanding, so that's kind of impressive. But yeah, just gotta get these pieces cut now and put them in there. One last thing before I go to the cutting time lapse, and probably the time lapse of putting the pieces in. I knew that these were gonna stick out, and instead of just coping it beforehand, you know, cutting this out, I'm just gonna take a hard wheel or a flap disc and just grind that so it's flat, you know, 1 1/4 inches or so. So I'm just gonna take that out. I figured it'd be easier than trying to mess with 10 pieces beforehand and getting it to line up. So I'm just gonna grind that out. Should be fairly quick, but get to work. So I used the angle grinder and I removed those lips, and that was definitely easier than coping the joint before, without a doubt. I mean, this flap disc, this 40 grit DeWalt flap disc on the old Hercules right here, did great. It only took maybe like 5 seconds per one or so. So that worked out really nicely. Now I just need to connect the two pieces with all these I cut over here. both sides. They're ground down like I showed. And for piecing them together, I could just have them standing up, and then I was thinking maybe I would put some boards across with some clamps and shimmy it around until I get to 40 inches in between. But I thought maybe this would be a little easier if I lay them down right here, going like that. And this piece of OSB back there is pretty flat, so then I can lay them down and put the pieces in. That'll work out a little bit better. But I think either way works, honestly. I'm gonna try this way though, so. Yep. it's pretty much all welded up here. Turned out good. I didn't weld this side at all. I just left that flat, and I welded it from the back side all the way down. But since it's flush up top, I can just put the OSB in there. And I am gonna have to run some pieces going this way to support it. I might do rebar, or I think I might find something around here I could use too, maybe. But I'll figure that out. Overall though, it's looking good. I'm gonna put some feet on it. So I think I'm gonna use this 3-inch flat stock, and it's 3/16. So I'm just gonna weld that on the corners here. Here's the frame all welded up so far. As you can see, it's turning out good. I have the feet welded on. That's just gonna distribute the weight more evenly on the ground. And I put the first shelf in here. I cut this one to size. And I stood in here with all my weight right in the center, and it doesn't really flex at all. So I'm trying to determine if I really want to run the pieces from here to here still, because this already seems really strong. But if I was thinking about using that 1-inch angle, but I'm not sure if I need to, honestly. It's just gonna make the frame heavier. But next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start cutting up this 4x8 sheet OSB with the compact circular saw here and this straight edge. So, yep. All the shelves are on it, and next thing to do is paint it. I got some carriage bolts for the shelf. Originally I was going to bolt down each of these shelves on the sides, but I think I might just do the top because well, obviously it would come off, but these are contained within the angle itself. So yeah, just got to get to painting it. Okay, so I brake cleaned down the frame. Now it's time to paint it. Here's the frame painted up. Turned out nicely. So now I just have to put the OSB back in. And yeah. Secured down now, as you can see, and looks good. So now I just got to move this back there. Here's where I'm gonna put it. One quick little last view of it when it's out here. Here's how it turned out with the paint and everything that went together in making it. And yeah, the feet look good, the construction of it, and the OSB, I think, goes in there perfectly. So overall, I think it's a pretty good shelf. Here's the shelf so far. I've kind of filled it up with some stuff. I'm gonna have to figure out where I want to put everything. As you can see, for the width, it's perfect for two of these 27-gallon totes to go in, which is what I wanted. Overall, it's steady and sturdy, and the finish turned out pretty good. It's a little dusty in some spots, just from moving it back here, but yeah, clears everything good too, like this chop saw. Definitely gonna be super helpful. As you can see, I'll find stuff to put on it. I have a lot of stuff. This shelf I made is pretty overloaded. Actually, it used to just go to here, but then I needed to have another shelf, so I just extended it. And yeah, it's a bit full. So definitely gonna be helpful. But overall, yeah, I'm just gonna start loading it up here with stuff, figuring out where I want everything. And I was looking at different shelves at Home Depot and Lowe's and stuff, and for shelves made at an angle that you just slip together with the particle board, that has a rating of 800 pounds per shelf. So that just gets me thinking, you know, what is the rating on this? And then the ones that have the grate or the expanded metal, that's like 1,000 pounds per shelf. So that's probably pretty similar for this. So I don't want to, you know, oversay what I built here, but I would say you could put over 500 pounds per shelf on this. And if the particle boards were rated for 800 pounds per shelf, they could probably, you know, go that much or over, but at least 500. I don't want to oversay what it actually is, but yeah, they don't really flex at all. But not bad for building it on this wall back here and on the floor. The concrete wasn't very level. It's okay here-ish, but yeah, I think it turned out really, really good. And the spacing for the shelves works out perfectly. So this will conclude the video. Thank you guys for watching.